Today, we are strapping on our metaphorical crampons and heading north, way north. We're going to explore a landscape that's, well, it's less a country and more an active monument to Earth's sheer colossal power.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about Norway, a place where the cliffs plunge deeper into the ocean than the Grand Canyon is high.
It's a geological drama of the absolute highest order. You know, every towering peak, every sheer drop, every deep inlet, it's all a chapter written by ice and time.
Right.
We're talking about these colossal features, ancient glaciers, iconic, impossibly suspended rock formations, and fjords that are just... they're masterpieces of natural engineering.
That is the perfect way to put it. Our mission today is to give you the shortcut to understand the most breathtaking natural wonders of Norway. We're going to explore how millennia of immense ice pressure and erosion sculpted these iconic waterways, the dizzying cliff formations.
The massive ice sheets.
Exactly. And the unique Arctic settlements that somehow managed to thrive at the very, very edge of the known world.
And if you really want to understand the profound environment of Norway, you have to start with the one defining geological force.
The glaciers.
The glaciers. The entire history of this landscape is just inextricably tied to the last ice age. We're talking about the last 20,000 years, where the movement of these massive sheets of ice has profoundly shaped everything, leaving behind this dramatic and, frankly, often unbelievable environment. It's unlike anywhere else on Earth.
And I think the most iconic, the most unforgettable result of all that glacial sculpting, it has to be the fjords.
Without a doubt.
These aren't just inlets or bays. These are enormous, deep, U-shaped valleys carved into solid rock, now just filled with seawater.
And it's the sheer scale that truly sets them apart globally. It's one thing to see a picture, it's another to try and grasp the magnitude.
So to really get our heads around that magnitude, where do we start?
We have to begin with Sognefjord. This is the absolute champion, the longest and deepest fjord in Norway, stretching an impressive 127 miles from the sea, far, far inland.
127 miles.
That's
an epic internal waterway.
It really is.
You could travel for hours, for days, and still be within the confines of this single geological feature.
Yeah.
But you mentioned scale and the depth. The depth is the real showstopper here, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Sognefjord plunges an almost unbelievable 4,291 feet deep.
4,000. Wow.
Yeah, and that number, it needs context. Because when we talk about the Grand Canyon, we all marvel at its depth.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But the deepest point of Sognefjord is actually deeper than the entire height of the Grand Canyon's cliffs.
Wait, say that again? Deeper than the Grand Canyon is high.
That's it. To put it another way, if you took the Empire State Building and you stacked it almost 4 times, one on top of the other, you still wouldn't reach the deepest floor of the fjord.
That's just mind-boggling. That kind of depth means the glacier that carved it had to be several miles thick and just unbelievably heavy.
Precisely. That staggering depth is a direct reflection of the power of the glacial mechanics at play. We're not just talking about ice pushing rock. We're talking about processes like glacial plucking.
Plucking.
Yeah, where meltwater gets into the cracks in the rock, freezes, expands, and then this enormous moving ice sheet literally pulls away massive blocks of bedrock.
Just rips it right out.
Exactly. This action reflects millions of years of accumulated geological history, all compressed into this one dramatic trench. And it's huge, covering roughly 1,396 square miles. It's why it is so deservedly recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's really the defining geological feature of the whole region.
And running right alongside Sognefjord in terms of sheer size is Fjord, the second longest.
That's right. This one clocks in at over 110 miles long.
Okay.
And it rivals Sognefjord for depth, too. It reaches approximately 4,500 feet.
So even deeper in some spots.
A little bit, yeah. And that depth supports something truly fascinating. A unique and incredibly diverse cold water marine ecosystem.
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah. Well, because of the high salinity and the low temperatures, these deep waters host very specific species adapted to high pressure and darkness. You get deep sea corals, fish species that thrive in near freezing temperatures all year round. They have these vertical migration patterns where they move between the deep, stable waters and the nutrient-rich surface.
That makes perfect sense. So you have this titanic geological feature, but it's also a thriving, productive environment. And Fjord is where this massive geological power meets some very human history and, surprisingly, an agricultural bounty.
It is the ultimate meeting point. I mean, not only was it the site of the Battle of Ullensvang way back in 1181, which links it firmly to Norway's medieval history,
Right.
but today, the steep, sheltered slopes of its inner reaches are renowned for their softness. Fjord is home to the world's largest concentration of fruit orchards. We're talking about 2,500 acres.
Orchards in a fjord. I mean, that is the most surprising thing I've heard today.
I know, right? It's all about the microclimate. The deep fjords, they trap warm air, and they provide these sheltered, south-facing slopes, which creates perfect conditions for growing apples and cherries, despite the latitude.
So it's this little pocket of warmth and life right next to these sheer rock faces.
It's a perfect testament to human adaptation. And on top of that, this region is also the home of the traditional Norwegian instrument, the Hardanger fiddle, which really embodies the region's rich musical and cultural heritage, all intertwined with the landscape.
Okay, so if the record holders are defined by their sheer, expansive size, the next two are defined by something else, dramatic, almost impossible narrowness.
Exactly. Now we're talking about the visual stunners, Nærøyfjord and Grandeur Fjord, both protected UNESCO areas.
And Nærøyfjord is the one that just it looks unreal in photos.
It is surreal. It's the narrowest fjord. At its most constricted point, it's only about 1,300 feet or 400 meters wide.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. When you're traveling through it on a boat, the towering cliffs on either side feel close enough to touch. It creates this incredible, almost cathedral-like echo.
And again, this narrowness doesn't mean it's shallow.
Not at all. It reaches over 1,800 feet deep. It's a textbook glacial valley, a perfect U-shape carved by those immense ice sheets.
And what's amazing is that despite its dramatic geography and its geological significance, I mean, it's recognized for giving us this unparalleled insight into glacial formation. It's still pretty quiet.
It's retained a remarkable level of tranquility. Less than 10% of Norway's total visitors actually venture here, so it's kept its hidden gem status. You can still see traditional Norwegian farms operating there, almost untouched by the centuries.
Then you have Ganga Fjord, which is a bit more famous, known for its sheer visual drama.
Grandeur reaches around 1,500 feet below sea level, and that gives you that perfect contrast with the sheer, towering cliffs rising hundreds of feet above the water.
And it's not as long, right?
No, it spans about 9 miles. But the visual highlight, especially in the spring, is the collection of powerful waterfall cascades. You can see famous ones like the Seven Sisters and the Suter, with water just plummeting more than 900 feet down the rock faces. Sometimes it disappears into mist before it even hits the water.
And this fjord tells an incredible story of human resilience. It's a UNESCO site that showcases human settlement going back over 1,000 years, with documented farming as early as the 11th century.
It's incredible when you see it.
When you look up and see these historic farms like Skageflow, which are literally clinging to ledges on these impossibly steep vertical cliffs, you realize how dramatically the human story is interwoven with the geology.
And these places were often only accessible by ladders or ropeways. Can you imagine? That constant negotiation with the landscape is absolutely key. And ecologically, the rugged terrain around Gorange, especially on the higher protected slopes, is home to a thriving population of black grouse, a large woodland bird. Their presence just shows the biodiversity that manages to find refuge even in these challenging, high-altitude environments.
And tucked within this vast system is another one, Fjord, which is also one of the world's deepest, plunging over 1,300 feet.
Fjord is really significant historically because of its central role during the Viking Age. It wasn't just a scenic spot. It was a vital trade route.
A highway, essentially.
An ancient highway, yeah. It allowed Norse communities deep inland to connect quickly and reliably to the ocean and to wider trade networks. It was crucial for their maritime economy.
And this area gives us a huge clue about the climate that sustains these lush, vibrant scenes we see in pictures. The region experiences an astonishing average yearly rainfall of around 89 inches.
89 inches, that's nearly 7.5 feet of rain every single year.
That's a lot of rain.
And that intense precipitation, which we'll see is characteristic of the whole Western Fjord region, is what allows this landscape to be so incredibly green and vibrant. It feeds the waterfalls and sustains the unique flora. That dense moisture contributes directly to the lush scenery.
It also contributes to some unique tourist experiences I hear. Things like fjordside camping, letting you camp right by the water's edge. And as you said, Orland's Fjord acts as the entryway to Nærøyfjord, linking it all together.
The whole UNESCO World Heritage area, yeah, reinforcing its importance.
Okay, so if the fjords are the valleys carved out by the ice, these next features are the pieces of rock that were left behind, the ones standing impossibly against gravity.
Yes. This is where Norway truly showcases its geological history in a dramatic, almost theatrical way.
They're just unbelievable formations.
They're textbook examples of selective erosion. The ice scours away the softer rock, and then, through various mechanisms, it shears away the supporting rock, leaving these incredible isolated platforms. And we have to start with the most photographed one, Trolltunga.
The Troll's Tongue.
The Troll's Tongue.
The name itself just evokes this sense of ancient power. This immense slab of rock juts out horizontally, just suspended over 2,300 feet above Lake Ringdal's Vatnet.
And it's about 90 feet long. It's a terrifying and exhilarating natural viewing platform, which, explains why it draws up to 100,000 visitors a year.
What are we actually looking at geologically?
What you're seeing there is a raw remnant of the last ice age, formed over 10,000 years ago. Geologically, Trolltunga is a result of that intense glacial plucking we talked about.
Right.
The ice likely filled a major fault line or a weakness in the rock, and as the glacier moved, it just ripped away the huge vertical slabs of surrounding rock, leaving that one singular platform projecting outward. The force required for that is it's astronomical.
It's amazing that it's still there, that it hasn't broken off.
The rock is incredibly stable. It's primarily solid metamorphic rock, and of course the geology blends perfectly with the culture. The local folklore suggests Trolltunga was once a platform for trolls to fish from.
I love that.
It links this breathtaking scenery to the imaginative world of Norwegian mythology. And the surrounding landscape is an ecologically rich environment, too. It's a certified biodiversity hotspot, home to more than 80 species of birds and a wide variety of native plants. It just shows how complex life has adapted to thrive in this rugged, high-altitude habitat.
Okay, next up, a slightly different shape. Preikestolen?
Or Pulpit Rock. This formation is defined by its sheer elevation. It rises a staggering 1,982 feet straight up above the Lysefjord. It just has this commanding presence.
But unlike Trolltunga, which is a thin tongue of rock, Preikestolen is defined by its summit. It's an iconic, almost perfectly flat square top. It looks like a giant carved table in the sky.
That flat surface is incredible. It spans roughly 22,000 square feet, and it was sculpted over about 10,000 years. This wasn't just plucking. This surface was likely shaped by processes like freeze-thaw erosion and abrasion.
So water smoothing it over time.
Exactly. As the glaciers retreated, immense meltwater flowed across the surface, smoothing and flattening it. It's like it was engineered by nature to allow dozens of visitors to safely take in the views at the same time.
And it's surprisingly accessible for something so dramatic. The hiking trail is manageable. It's about 3.8 miles, usually takes 2 to 3 hours, with an elevation gain of over 1,600 feet.
It's an accessible challenge that rewards you with truly world-class views. And it's significant beyond just tourism, too. Preikestolen serves as a popular site for outdoor festivals, for gatherings.
Up there?
Oh, yeah. Imagine having a concert or a historical reenactment almost 2,000 feet above the fjord. It really reflects the community's depth connection to this immense natural stage.
Okay, if Preikestolen feels imposing and Trolltunga is dramatic, then Kjeragbolten is it's absurd in the best possible way.
It really is.
This is the famous 220-ton boulder that is perfectly precariously wedged between two cliffs, hanging 3,228 feet above Lysefjord. It just defies logic.
It looks like something a child would draw, doesn't it? An impossible scenario. But like the other major formations, Kjeragbolten is a direct result of colossal glacial mechanics from about 12,000 years ago.
So how did it get there?
Well, the leading theory is that as the massive glacier retreated and melted, the boulder was carried along by meltwater and sediment and then just deposited in that crevice. As the ice vanished, the boulder remained suspended in the gap. It's a pure, raw, glacial remnant.
I always have to ask, can you actually get out on it?
You can, but it is not for the faint of heart. The hike to Kjeragbolten is a challenging 5.5-mile round trip with a substantial elevation gain of about 1,150 feet. It even involves using chains fixed to the rock to navigate some steep sections.
Oh, wow.
But the payoff, those dizzying panoramic fjord views, it's considered one of the ultimate achievements for Norwegian hikers.
Okay, so let's shift focus from the rock faces that were left behind and go back to the source of all this geological drama, the ice itself.
Yes, we have to. Norway is home to some of mainland Europe's most impressive glaciers and highest, most rugged mountain ranges.
And when we talk about living geological forces, Jostedalsbreen is the centerpiece. This is the largest glacier in mainland Europe.
It is. It covers about 47 square miles, located near the Great Sognefjord and Sundal. And you're right to call it a living force. It truly feels like an ancient, slow-moving monster.
And it is ancient.
Absolutely ancient. Jostedalsbreen has been in existence for over 14,000 years, born during the last ice age. It's so thick that it reaches a maximum depth of around 1,600 feet. That density makes it a crucial subject for glaciologists studying ice physics and movement.
And the movement is key. I think when people imagine a glacier, they think of a static block of ice. But these are enormous slow-motion rivers.
They are. Jostedalsbreen is flowing forward through internal mechanisms, a process called plastic deformation, and sometimes basal slip, where it slides across its bed. It moves at a speed of several inches to even a few feet per day in some areas.
So it's constantly grinding and re-sculpting the land beneath it.
Constantly. And its ecological role is irreplaceable. The continuous meltwater from Jostedalsbreen feeds the lush valleys and deep fjords, maintaining the water balance and the temperature gradients that are necessary for rare plant species and local wildlife to thrive. As climate change accelerates, the survival of these unique ecosystems, which are so deeply integrated into the glacier's footprint, becomes critically important.
Another one of these giants is the Fjords Glacier.
Yes, another huge one. It covers approximately 47 square miles, a colossal ice cap, roughly the size of a major city like Seattle.
And historically, it's always been important.
It's been a critical source of fresh water for thousands of years, nurturing the landscape and supporting local communities. But today, its most vital role is as a library of climate history.
This is where it gets really fascinating. Scientists have extracted ancient ice cores from Fjords that are literal time capsules, right? They reveal climate data spanning the last 700 years.
That information is invaluable. I mean, when they pull up these cores, they're analyzing trapped ancient air bubbles, dust, pollen, even volcanic ash. It provides a detailed record of pre-industrial atmospheric composition. So it gives us a baseline. Exactly. This data establishes the natural baseline that we need to accurately model modern climate change. Without this historical record frozen into the ice, our understanding of recent warming trends would be severely handicapped.
And visually, the glacier is always changing. It's known for ice carving, this natural phenomenon where huge chunks break off and fall into the fjords below.
Oh yeah, it creates these dramatic splashes and it changes the fjord's profile. Yet despite being this active ancient glacier, it's also a popular recreational spot. It offers the unique opportunity for summer skiing on its higher slopes.
Summer skiing on a 700-year-old climate library. That's Norway for you.
Pretty much. And moving from the flow of ice to the sheer height of rock, we enter Jotunheimen National Park.
The name itself is steeped in deep Norse mythology. It translates to the home of the giants, or Jotunnar.
And it absolutely lives up to that name. This park is home to Galdhøpiggen, which is Norway's highest peak. It reaches a spectacular 8,100 feet.
Which makes it one of the tallest mountains in all of northern Europe.
Easily. And the sheer scale of the park, which was established in 1980, is humbling. It spans over 1,300 square miles, safeguarding glaciers, lakes, and incredibly rugged terrain. What's so impressive is the concentration of height. It boasts more than 250 peaks that exceed 6,600 feet. It is a genuine high mountain wilderness.
And that cultural connection is so integral to the landscape. Many of those towering peaks are actually named after the mythical giants of Norse lore figures like Jotunheim, who battled the Norse gods. This geological theater is the literal backdrop for Norway's most ancient stories.
It is. Now, to find our final massive mountain range, we have to head far north, above the Arctic Circle, to the Lyngdon Alps.
A stunning range defined by extreme latitude and this dramatic blend of tectonic and glacial formation.
And the defining feature here is the Lyngdon Glacier. It stretches over 6.2 miles and holds the record as the world's northernmost glacier. The range's formation is exceptionally complex. It was created millions of years ago through a powerful blend of glacial grinding and underlying tectonic uplifting.
So it was pushed up and ground down at the same time.
It's in a sense, yeah, and that resulted in these dramatic, jagged peaks soaring over 5,600 feet, almost directly from the sea.
And despite this seemingly harsh, remote environment, The Lingen Alps, covering 550 square miles, are surprisingly rich in life.
They are. They host more than 1,200 to 50 species of plants and animals, many of them highly adapted to Arctic conditions. And here, the extreme light conditions define life itself.
The midnight sun.
The midnight sun. During the summer, the area experiences up to 24 hours of continuous daylight. And this constant light significantly alters the natural behaviors of the local wildlife and, crucially, allows the plants to photosynthesize around the clock. It drives these intense, if brief, periods of growth and flowering.
Okay, so now we journey to the very edge of the map, exploring locations that are defined by their isolation, the cold, and immense immediate natural forces. These are places where the planet's drama plays out daily.
We have to start with Nordkapp, or the North Cape. It's often referred to as the symbolic northernmost point of mainland Europe. It's located 12,240 miles from the North Pole. It's a truly extreme and pivotal geographical location.
And for centuries, it really was the dividing line between known territory and the great unknown. I mean, since the 16th century, Nordkapp served as a key navigation point for sailors during the Age of Exploration. Reaching this point meant you had successfully rounded the top of Europe, which was a perilous feat.
And the plateau itself is massive. It reaches about 1,000 feet above sea level, providing these stunning, uninterrupted panoramic views of the vast Arctic Ocean meeting the sky. The ecosystem is uniquely rugged, featuring specialized Arctic flora and fauna that are adapted to the harsh winds and the permafrost.
And you can see reindeer there, right on the cliffs.
It's one of the few places where you can observe wild reindeer grazing right alongside the northernmost cliffs, seemingly oblivious to the dramatic drop. And like the Lingen Alps, Nordkapp experiences those intense polar phenomena. The summer months bring 24 hours of daylight, the midnight sun, drawing travelers eager to witness the sun hovering perpetually above the horizon.
For human settlement at its absolute extreme, we have to turn to Longyearbyen,
The northernmost settlement in the world. Located on the Svalbard archipelago, barely 1,300 kilometers from the actual North Pole. It doesn't get more extreme than this.
And the statistic everyone remembers about Longyearbyen really captures the unique danger of that latitude. Polar bears outnumber humans.
They do. You have approximately 3,000 bears compared to only about 2,000 residents. And that's a ratio that demands some serious respect and some very unique rules.
It means you can't leave the immediate town boundaries without carrying a rifle, for one.
For one, yeah. And there are strict rules about maintaining safe distances from wildlife. And, as you mentioned, unique regulations are necessary, including the one that makes it illegal to own a dog there.
Right. Why is that?
That measure was put in place specifically to prevent dogs from harassing local wildlife, particularly the bears, and to maintain the fragile ecological balance.
Historically, Longyearbyen was founded in 1906 as a coal mining town, but it's completely pivoted now. It's a crucial international research hub.
It is. And perhaps most famously, it's home to the Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
The Doomsday Vault.
The Doomsday Vault, yeah.
Wow.
It preserves over 1 million unique seed varieties, a vital, literal insurance policy for global agriculture, buried deep inside the permafrost.
But Longyearbyen also serves as one of the world's most critical markers for understanding the acceleration of climate change.
Frighteningly so. Over the past 50 years, the average temperature in the settlement has risen a shocking 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
7 degrees. In 5 decades. That's a massive change.
It's a huge shift. And it's already significantly impacting the local environment. It's causing permafrost to thaw, which threatens the stability of buildings, roads, and even the seed vault structure itself. It makes Longyearbyen this constantly evolving and extremely fragile area for climate study.
Shifting back to the water, the sheer immediate power of the ocean is nowhere more evident than in Saltstraumen.
Ah, yes. Home to the world's strongest tidal current.
This current isn't driven by wind, it's driven entirely by the tide surging through a narrow strait. The water flows at speeds of up to 22 knots, or about 25 miles per hour.
Which is faster than many small boats can even motor. The sheer volume and velocity are just staggering. This phenomenon happens because the massive tidal difference in the sea level outside the strait pushes all this water through a channel that's only about 150 meters wide.
So it's a bottleneck.
A massive bottleneck. At peak flows, Saltstraumen shifts up to 660,000 gallons of water per second.
That's an impossible number to imagine.
It is. And this volume and speed create these powerful, mesmerizing whirlpools or maelstroms that can reach staggering diameters of 30 feet.
And that dynamic water system doesn't just create a spectacle. It must support an incredibly rich ecosystem.
It does. The current constantly churns nutrients from the deep sea to the surface, attracting huge schools of marine life like cod, lobsters, and scallops. It's made it an extremely vital fishing ground that's been used for over 1,000 years.
And where the fish gather.
The giant predators follow. The turbulent waters attract all this aquatic life, and above them, magnificent giant sea eagles are hovering constantly, searching for fish, which enhances the area's ecological value. And on top of all that, the region is culturally steeped in history, featuring ancient rock carvings that date back to the Stone Age, showing humanity's long relationship with this powerful natural phenomenon.
So for the final part of our deep dive, let's focus on the aesthetic beauty and the human ingenuity found throughout Norway. The gigantic waterfalls, the unique geography of its highlands, and the historic cities that adapted often brilliantly to this rugged terrain.
And when we talk about the waterfalls created by that intense rainfall we mentioned earlier, Veringsfossen is spectacular. It cascades an impressive 590 feet or 180 meters into the valley below.
Let's contextualize that height again. 590 feet is higher than both the main sections of Niagara Falls and the major drop of Yosemite Falls.
It's an enormous continuous torrent. And its complexity is also notable, featuring a combined total of 12 separate waterfalls flowing into the Mubbedalen Valley.
And it's part of the massive Hardangervidda National Park.
Which is crucial because that park hosts Europe's largest mountain plateau and is home to the largest population of wild reindeer in Norway. And, demonstrating that human resourcefulness again, despite its remote wild setting, the site was crucial for energy needs. An early hydroelectric power plant was actually constructed there in 1915.
Then you have another one, Morfossen Waterfall, standing at 302 feet. Like Veringsfossen, it served a vital historical purpose, didn't it?
It did. It powered early mills in the late 19th century, a perfect example of how the Norwegians harnessed this ubiquitous water power. Its flow is particularly dramatic during the spring thaw, reaching an impressive 12,000 liters per second.
That's over 3,170 gallons rushing past every second.
Every second. And the surrounding area is also deeply rooted in folklore. Local legends about trolls and spirits are often tied to the powerful sound and mist of the waterfall, adding that cultural depth to the lush scenery.
Okay, now to the islands, starting with the iconic Lofoten Islands. These islands are famous for their sheer, pointed peaks like Reinebringen, which reaches 1,322 feet, rising dramatically almost straight out of the sea.
Lofoten's entire history and economy have always been defined by the sea and the great cod migrations. They're renowned for the world's largest production of stockfish cod that's air-dried naturally on these huge wooden racks without any salt. They export over 1,500 tons a year.
And Vikings settled there for that very reason.
Exactly. They settled here around 1000 AD specifically to utilize this phenomenal resource.
And the visual aesthetic is just captivating. The Village of Rain is one of Norway's most photographed, established in the 16th century, known for its iconic red fishermen's cabins or rorbur, built right on the water's edge.
They are beautiful. And despite their popularity, the islands maintain a low population density of only about 40 people per square mile, which ensures a peaceful, less crowded exploration experience.
And ecologically, the area is surprisingly diverse.
Incredibly so. The surrounding area of Maskinis boasts over 1,600 species of plants thriving in the unique coastal microclimates. And then moving north, we find Senja Island, Norway's second largest island, covering 1,047 square miles with over 400 miles of wildly varied coastline.
And Senja is important historically because it was a vital area for the indigenous Sami people, who used its rich marine resources for fishing and trading over centuries.
It was. The geography of Senja is marked by the incredibly dramatic Segla Mountain, which rises over 3,600 feet, featuring views that are almost fjord-like in their severity. It also boasts unique geological curiosities, like the striking Devil's Jaw formation called Keipen.
The Devil's Jaw. I like it.
It's a sharp, imposing, rocky outcrop.
So the final synthesis of our deep dive is understanding how human cities and engineering adapted to and thrived within these overwhelming natural environments.
And we have to begin with Bergen, famously known as the gateway to the fjords. It's dramatically situated, surrounded by over 66 peaks, many of which are easily accessible for hiking, offering breathtaking views right outside the city center.
Culturally, Bergen is defined by the historic Bryggen Wharf, a UNESCO World Heritage Site of colorful, distinct wooden houses. This area was crucial to the Hanseatic League trade network from the 14th to the 16th centuries.
And the Hanseatic League was this powerful commercial and defensive confederation of German merchant guilds that dominated maritime trade across northern Europe.
Right, and Bergen was a major hub for them.
It became one of the League's 4 major foreign offices, mainly because of its access to those vast supplies of stockfish from places like Lofoten. That German influence is why the Bergen buildings look so distinct, and why Bergen was, for a period, dominated by this powerful merchant class.
And circling back to climate, Bergen certainly proves the wet pattern. It receives around 89 inches of rainfall annually.
The same as Lysefjord.
Exactly. It makes it one of the rainiest cities in Europe, contributing directly to the lush greenery surrounding it. And the wilderness nearby is home to the largest population of wild reindeer in Norway, with nearly 60,000 of them roaming the Hardangervidda Plateau.
Then you have Ålesund, which is an architectural gem. After a devastating fire in 1904, the entire city was completely rebuilt in a unified, unique Art Nouveau style. The city now boasts over 400 such buildings, one of the largest concentrations of this style in Europe.
And that style, Art Nouveau, with its organic flowing lines, was chosen deliberately. It was modern, it symbolized the rebuilding of the city and its hope for the future. Ålesund is also known as the Venice of Norway.
It is, because it's so beautifully situated on a series of small islands, all linked by bridges and tunnels. And it's surrounded by the spectacular Sunnmøre Alps, which rise majestically to over 6,500 feet.
Far inland, we find Røros, which is a cultural and historical outlier.
It really is. It's one of the best preserved wooden towns in Europe, with over 150 historic 17th century buildings still standing. Its entire foundation is rooted in copper mining, which began in 1644 and drove the local economy for centuries.
And it's a UNESCO site, noted for showcasing both the industrial history of mining and the continuous presence of traditional Sami culture and reindeer herding. It provides this rare link between industry and indigenous life.
And finally, the ultimate testament to human ingenuity overcoming the coastal extremes has to be the Atlantic Ocean Road.
An unbelievable road.
It's a remarkable, almost impossible engineering feat that spans 5.1 miles across the open ocean. It features 8 distinct bridges that just weave through the stunning scenery of small islands and skerries.
And the construction, completed in 1989, was legendary for its difficulty. It required moving over 200,000 cubic yards of rock and earth. And the builders famously had to deal with 12 intense European storms during the 6-year construction period.
It was designed specifically to endure those powerful, unpredictable North Atlantic storms. And it's now such an iconic piece of infrastructure and tourism that more than 2 million vehicles traverse it every year.
Wow.
This entire journey through Norway has really been a study in timescales and contrasts. We've examined the colossal ancient power of the ice-like Jostedalsbreen, a glacier that has been moving and shaping the land for over 14,000 years.
And we've held that power right next to the relatively recent human history, from the Viking settlements in Lofoten around 1000 AD, to the Hanseatic trade offices in Bergen, to the copper mining in Røros starting in 1644. Humans are. We're very late arrivals in this ancient, overwhelmingly dynamic environment.
It's the scale that defines everything we've discussed. The breathtaking 4,500-foot depth of Hardangerfjord, the 8,100-foot peak of Galdhøpiggen in the home of the giants, and the raw 22-knot current of Saltstraumen. This landscape is a powerful, active testament to Earth's overwhelming dynamic processes.
And that dynamic process, the one that created everything we've looked at, is now accelerating. We learned that the ancient ice cores from Fjords can tell us about the last 700 years of climate, establishing that crucial natural baseline.
So if the average temperature in Longyearbyen, the world's northernmost settlement, has risen about 7 degrees Fahrenheit over just the last 50 years, which is a massive, almost unbelievable shift in geological time, what story will Norway's remaining glaciers tell the scientists 50 years from now about the irreversible fate of these ice giants?
And more importantly, what will that mean for the unique ecosystems and the human histories that are just clinging to their sides?